Hello and welcome to the Cold Coffee Club, a podcast brought to you by Houston Moms. We're here to give you a little bit of that mom-to-mom connection, fun, and conversation amidst all the chaos. Join us as we take a break from doing all the things and explore the wide spectrum of this crazy motherhood role. We'll interview fun guests, talk about cool grown-up topics, laugh, share, and grow together. So go ahead, reheat that coffee, and put your feet up. Here we go.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Cold Coffee Club. Ashley here, your trusty host. And today, Chris Sizemore and I are going to chat about what do we wear? I know it is hard since becoming a mom to figure out what my style is, what is comfortable, what is functionable, what makes me feel good in my skin. So Chris and I are going to chat about where we shop, what style we're working with these days, and where we find some of the best bargains for mom clothes. But as usual, let's spill some tea. My win this week, I have 2 wins, no fails. I love it. So 2 things. My plants are still alive. Y'all, this is like huge for me. This is huge. My plants are like thriving, like new leaves are like sprouting up. They're blooming. It's insane. And I've never gotten this far before. So I'm super excited about that. I am just not a good plant mom, but I have talked to my plants and I'm like, hey, listen, let's work together. I love on you. You provide, goodness. You provide good feels for my environment. Please, let's work together. And I feel like they're listening to me. I feel like they get me and they're like, yeah, girl, we got you. So I'm super pumped that my plants are still alive. My second win is that I have a tradition with my sons. I always get them caterpillars for their Easter basket. And so we watch them grow, they eat, and then they make their cocoons, and then they, become butterflies and we let them go. And my caterpillars this year are super active, which was surprising. They're not normally very active. They move around a little bit, just enough for us to observe. But this year they're really moving and they're eating a lot. They've grown a ton since, I'm recording this on Wednesday. So it's been 3 days and they started off like little tiny, like a couple centimeters, and they've already grown like, I don't know, they're about 3 inches now, 2 to 3 inches. And it's been really interesting watching them this year. I don't know what is happening that's so different from years past, but this year they are active and moving around a lot and eating a lot. And I'm really excited. So yay us. Like I said, no fails. So great week for me. I love this. I love that I have really nothing of note to point out as a fail. So I hope y'all are having the same kind of week. Fingers crossed. My cream and sugar this week is a podcast for kids that Tiffany Harris shared with me, and I started playing it with my kids in the car. And it turns out it is perfect for your science-y kiddos if they have lots of explorative kinds of questions, if they really want to know, like, how does this work, or why do we do this, or anything like that. This is the perfect podcast. It's called Brains On. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It is all science-y related. Some of their most recent episodes include, of course, with the solar eclipse coming up, it's everything you need to know about the solar eclipse. The episode before that is, are UFOs real? There's one about why do we laugh? And another about how do satellites work? So it's a lot of really interesting topics that my kids are really into. And they're just like, oh, I didn't know that. It has answered a few questions for my kids. And I try to limit screen time. I try to engage with my children as much as possible. And so as we're listening to this podcast, we're discussing it and we're really exploring the topics together. So it is a lot of fun. I highly appreciate that this content is out there where it's encouraging our kids to think. So head on over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, check out Brains On, and explore with your kids. All right, it's time to talk about fashion and style. Chris Sizemore is going to join me, and we are going to chat about what we wear these days. All right, so Chris is here with me today, and we are going to answer the age-old question, at least for me. What the heck do I wear? As a mom in my 30s, like I don't ever know how to dress myself. There's a part of me that's like, can I hire someone to tell me what to wear? Because I don't know. I don't know my style. I don't know where to find it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of putting clothes on. So we're just going to talk about like how we dress ourselves, where we find like either good deals or quality stuff. And then like, I don't know, what is, I don't even know what like style is these days. I literally thank God for places that let you try stuff for like a couple days and then send it back, because there are so many things I'm like, oh, this will look great on me. And like, thank God I didn't buy it, because I'm like, I look like a toddler. This is not what I was going for. Cool. Like I recently learned that overalls are not my thing. I look like an Oshkosh like commercial. I'm like, I'm not built for these, or at least I don't. I mean, I can wear whatever it is I want, but when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, that's not what I was going for. So yeah, we're just gonna talk about our style. And for starters, like how would you describe your style?
That's funny. Like, first off, I just have to say, like, no one is looking to me for fashion advice, but I think our fashion and what we wear has shifted significantly for very interesting reasons over the last like 7 years. Like my style would be comfortable, accessible, and whatever brings me joy.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
That is my style. Which is like I think about our generation, and we have like, there were all these shows. There was like legitimately, wasn't the show called What Not to Wear?
Yes,
your friends secretly filmed you and then ambush you with two people and then put you on TV and we're like, you're a slob.
Like, right. Okay, thank you.
Like, this is what we were bred. They were like, well, if you're heavy, you can never wear stripes. Like, and it's just like, why?
Right.
Like, who made that rule? Like, what if stripes bring me immense amount of joy and then I never wear stripes my entire life because I have a large chest and I am, you know, a plus size woman? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Right. Why? Nonsense. Like, nonsense.
I want to like look like a Parisian woman with my stripy shirt and beret. Like, why? Because what was Stacy and Clinton Stacy told us not to in the 90s?
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
Like it's insane. And I think like we deal with body image so heavily, and that is influenced by our clothing and like, oh, well, what's trending is this, but that doesn't look good on my body. And so now I'm out of style and whatever. Right. And I don't know. I follow fashion because it's interesting to me, like from a marketing perspective, that's my industry, and design and style and fashion kind of all like roll into each other. Like there's a Pantone color of the year, and that influences fashion, and that influences design and all these different things. And so my brain is always looking at it. And a lot of times I'm going, okay.
Yeah.
But I did, like, the pandemic rolled around, and I told a friend of mine, I was like, no one's going to do with fashion. They did.
Yeah. It's like, what do we do? Well, I don't know.
I even looked up like statistics, like the sale of jeans went down, and like what I lovingly call hard pants, like the pants that are hard, like people just weren't buying them because they were at home and they wanted to be comfortable. And I'm like, why do we have to be uncomfortable in public and can only be comfortable at home?
Right.
I don't know.
Listen, I am a huge fan of jeggings. I love jeggings. I'm like, these are so comfortable and they look like jeans. I will rock these all day, every day. I remember when I got like the memo that high-waisted jeans were no longer in, and I was like, I don't care. Like, high-waisted jeans are where I live. I'm like, listen, I've had 3 kids.
Yeah.
I got the pooch. Like, leave me alone. I will wear those high-waisted jeans like nobody's business.
Yeah. I mean, like at the end of the day, if you are dressing your body in a way that brings you joy, then that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a difference between like, I'm just getting dressed in the morning because I have to wear clothes and society says I have to wear clothing.
Right.
And you're just putting on whatever. Like, there's like a direct correlation between that and I think mental health sometimes. Like, I know if I put extra effort into what I'm going to wear during the day, I feel better during the day. And it doesn't mean that I have to meet certain trends. Just means like I'm wearing something that brings me joy. Like, I like weird shirts that have interesting patterns that you look at them and then you're like, oh, that's not polka dots, that's tiny cat faces. Like, it's ridiculous, but they bring me joy, and that's what I like to wear.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've noticed like I didn't really know what I liked to wear. After becoming a mom, it was just about functionality and like, you know, every now and then I'd pull something out like, oh, it's date night, or oh, it's, you know, I'm doing something special. Okay, cool. But like when I got divorced, I was like, I don't even know what to wear to like feel good in my skin. I don't even know, like, I don't know where to start. And so I had the hardest time like figuring out A, what made me feel good, B, since I was kind of in the dating pool, I did want to be attractive. Like, I mean, I wanted a level of attractiveness, but it was like, I don't even know what's in. And then I was like, I don't even know what's appropriate. Like, I was wearing like a half shirt one day, and I was like, am I like crossing a line am I okay to do this? And I was like, I probably shouldn't care. Like, I'm not doing anything inappropriate, but I was like, but isn't it weird as like a mom and like, I thought about all these things and I felt uncomfortable and everything. And it took me a minute to like find my groove a little. There is nothing wrong with doing something that you feel is sexy as a mom. There is nothing wrong with that. I mean, do you? That's cool. You know, my kids have asked questions like, well, how come I can see your stomach in that shirt? And I'm like, because I like it and it's cool. So that's cool. And they're like, huh, it's different, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think it's like the coolest thing happened recently, right? Free People, the brand. Did you read these?
No.
Do you know what post I'm talking about?
No, I know the brand, but I don't know.
They do this post and they're like, hey ladies, we're wearing micro shorts this summer. And like and then like you can swipe through all the pictures and they're real shorts that are for sale. And like women showed up in the comments and they were like, the hell we are. Like, it was like this brand came out. It was like, we're going to wear this. And then humanity was like, nah, And it was very much the first time in a long time that I've seen like the American women come out and be like, this is a fashion trend we're not going to do. Sorry.
I love it.
And it's like, you haven't seen that come. And I mean, it could have been a whole marketing ploy, but they really are selling these shorts with like multiple you have to go find it. It's hysterical.
Oh, I'm on it.
I had some friends over and we threw the comments up on the TV and just like laughed hysterically through the whole thing. But it truly like, it gave me hope because people were like, no, we're not going to wear these.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm going to find the post. I'm going to find it. I'm going to put it in the show notes so we can all laugh at these comments.
Yes. Oh my gosh. They're so funny. And the shorts are absolutely ridiculous. Like, part of me wants to be in the concept meeting. Like, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when someone was pitching these as an idea. And there was a higher up that said, yeah, let's do that. And like, guaranteed there's people in that meeting that were just like, oh God, this is going to be bad.
Oh gosh.
But, I just loved it because people were like, no, we're not wearing that. That's ridiculous. This is not what we're asking for as moms, as your demographic for this brand. It's been great. Like, I'm very proud of people. Go everyone who commented on.
I love it. Oh, I'm on it. So where do you like to shop? What are your go-to places to grab clothes?
Thrift stores. Which sounds crazy and is becoming more trendy. Like it's something I've done since high school. It was my first place I go to shop. And recently I wrote a post for Houston Moms about clothing waste. And when we were working with people during Hurricane Harvey, and we ended up running a donation center and shipping out tons of goods just to single people. We were shipping out stuff on pallets all over the Gulf Coast. And it was really, really amazing. But people would come and they'd be like, "Oh, I have a donation." And we'd be like, "What?" And they'd say clothes. And everybody who worked there, it was like clothes was a 4-letter word because there was so much. And, some people needed it, but most people, there were these great groups of women and men who were taking people's clothing and washing them at their house and bringing them back. And so that was happening and it just wasn't a need necessarily. And if you get really deep into it, and you can look up the article, but it's like an epidemic, the amount of clothing. I saw a statistic yesterday or last week, and it said there's enough clothing right now to clothe the next 6 generations.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy. And it's a combination of consumerism and fast fashion. And you'd have a spring line and a fall line. Maybe you'd have a winter line and a summer line. So maybe 4 lines. And now we're getting 18 rounds of fashion in a year.
Wow.
And it's not sustainable. It uses a ton of water and resources in order to make all these clothing. They're cheap and cheaply made, so they don't last. And I mean, how many times have you bought something off of one of those, the websites I'm talking about, and you buy it and you've worn it once and then it goes away. There's these giant dumps and it's clothes in South America. It's piles and piles of clothes, and it's clothes with tags on it. It's clothes with and brands you'd recognize. And then there were a couple really high-end brands that got in trouble because they were actually just burning merchandise because they didn't want to sell it to discounters. And I get it from a brand standpoint, I understand, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, really? Yeah, that's what we're doing. So, in December 2019, as a family, we were like, okay, this is a place we can make changes as a family and reduce carbon footprint and reduce, reuse, recycle, and all of those things. And we started making it a point to, if we're gonna go shopping for clothes, we're gonna go to the thrift store first. And now it's just what we do. It's not, we don't even have to think about it. My daughter's like, "Oh, Mom, I need sneakers. Can we go to the thrift store?" I'm like, yes.
Oh, I love it.
It's so great. We found a pair of Lululemon leggings for $6.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the thing, is you can find name brand stuff. Yes, it's slightly used, but and some people, I think there's people that are like, "Oh, that's gross." I'm like, well, do you sleep in a hotel bedroom? Because people slept on those sheets. Way more people slept in those sheets than wore that pair of Lululemon leggings.
Right. Oh, for sure. Oh gosh. Yeah.
So, if you put it into that perspective, but we really have, it's changed the way we consume clothing. It's changed kind of what we wear too. And there's a thrift store for everybody. If you're not the person who wants to dig, there's you have the places that's here's a bag and here's bins of clothes, and dig through the bins and the bag is $10. There's that level. And then there's the level almost to the point of a Ross or a Marshalls or a TJ Maxx, where everything's organized by color and size. And here's your summer t-shirts and tank tops and blouses, and everything's very, very organized. So you kind of, there is a thrift store for everyone, even if you don't like to dig.
Yeah. Oh,
but
that's awesome.
And obviously underwear, bras, those kinds of things we're buying new. But yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you shopping?
Yeah, I do a lot of online shopping, like on the Facebook marketplaces. I find that like other women in my area who tend to be like around my age group, they have some of the like cutest outfits, dresses, those kind of things. So I'm like, okay, cool, like I'll get that from you. And I have a few friends who are similar build to me, where we'll just trade stuff. A lot of times, I'm like, girl, are you
That's
cleaning out your closet?
awesome.
Yes, it's so much fun. And I love just like looking at other people's styles and be like, I'll take that. Like, I love that. I don't typically, so as far as like tops and dresses, stuff like that, I will buy from other people. But as far as like, because of just how I'm built, I tend to get like shorts or jeans, either like at Target or Walmart, just because I can never find the right fit for me. It's either like too,
Mhm.
like it doesn't fit my waist, or like, yeah, it's just, it doesn't work for me. So I have to get them specifically at certain places or certain brands. Like Walmart has been shocking me lately. They have these mom jeans. They're literally called mom jeans. And I'm like, these are perfect.
That's I've been really impressed with Walmart
Yes.
as far as their fashion. Like whoever's doing the buying
Yeah.
is doing a good job. Like even if there's pieces that we need and we can't find them in the thrift store, my daughter is very texture sensitive, so she has very specific things that she likes. If a seam is in the wrong place, it's a no-go.
Yeah.
So like we've hit up Walmart for different things like bicycle shorts,
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I'm impressed. Like there's some cute stuff rolling out of Walmart at
Yeah.
decent prices too.
Exactly.
But
I am not above shopping at
the
Walmart at all.
me either. The other place that I've really liked is there's all these like online thrifts. So there's ThredUp, there's Poshmark, there's a ton of them. But what I've been doing is if there's like I grabbed these running shorts from Target from like 2 or 3 seasons ago, and they're like you always have that favorite pair. You're like, man, I really wish I would have bought 4 more pairs of these. You can go on to ThredUp and you can search for that exact same pair, and then I've bought 3 extra pairs in different colors of those same
Wow.
shorts.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's amazing.
I have
It's
tried
amazing.
ThredUp and Poshmark a few times, but I was finding that they were a little bit pricier than I wanted them to be.
Yeah.
Like I spent my last birthday, thrift store shopping. Like that's what I wanted to do the whole day. So I went to these like vintage stores. I found like old concert t-shirts. I found an old leather jacket that I thought was really cool. I didn't buy it, but it was like the coolest looking thing I've ever seen. I was like, it was from like
Mhm.
76 or something. And I was like, this is fun. So I do love in-person thrift shopping. I think that's kind of my go-to. I will find some things on Amazon. I love that they have the try before you buy, and I use that often. I'm like, let me just see if this works for me. Let me wear it for a day, see how I feel in it. I end up sending most of it back, but every now and then you find like that one thing where it's like, yeah, but I love this, so I have to have it.
Mhm. I'm terrible about when it comes to buying clothes on Amazon. Like I will return all other kinds of things, but for whatever reason, the clothes sit at the end of my bed on this bench, and then I'm like, oh, I was supposed to take that back 3 months ago. Like I don't know what it is about returning clothes at Amazon. Anything else, I could buy like a new, I don't know, coffee maker and not like it and return it like the next day. But if it's closed, it's gonna sit at the end of my bed.
I wonder
I
what
don't
that
know.
is.
I don't know. It's very weird.
That's
Maybe
funny.
I'm like indecisive about it and I'm not really sure. I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But I watch these influencers on um their TikTok and on Reels and stuff, and they're like, here's how to take it from a millennial style to a Gen Z style. And I watch them and I'm like, I just don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I do not care. I
just
don't
don't care.
care. I'm going to keep parting my hair to the
don't.
side. I don't care what y'all are doing. I don't care.
Yeah. And it's coming back. Like there's new trends that are like, oh, side parts, they're here. And I found it. Do you remember Delia's?
Yes.
You're like a little younger than me, but Delia's catalogs. So I found a Delia's catalog from 2000 and I'm flipping through it. This is what all my kids' friends are wearing, and they're all in middle school. And
Yeah.
so one of her friends was over and she's very fashion forward in the middle school trends. Like she's wearing the Nike socks. She's got the Stanley Cup and she wants the free Lululemon bag to carry her lunch in. Like she is like the trendy middle school girl. And my kid's just not that kid. It's amazing to me that they're best friends. But anyway, so she comes over and I was like, oh, I've got this really cool catalog you should look. It's clothing catalog. And she was like, what's a catalog? And I was like, oh no.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, well, it's kind of a magazine where you can buy clothes out of. And so I show it to her and I don't tell her it's from 2000. And she's like in there and she's like, oh my God, I really like this. Can we order this? Mom, can I order this? Oh my God. Oh, look at this. I really like this. And she's like, going, and like every single page, there was something she liked. And I was just like, this is what we wore.
Mm-hmm.
This is the catalog. You can't buy any of these things. She was very disappointed, but it was an interesting little experiment. And it's all of that stuff is back.
Yep. Isn't it amazing?
It's insane. H&M, I think it was, just did an ad and they were like, put your dress over a pair of jeans. And I'm like, no, it wasn't cute then. It's still not cute. It was uncomfortable, but we all did it.
We all did it, and it was so dumb.
It was dumb, and your dress was like lumpy because your jeans on it, and it was hot.
It was
like
so hot. And we all thought we were just killing it.
We did. And the platform flip-flops. How many times did I roll an ankle in a platform flip-flop?
No. I knew
ridiculous.
my clumsy self could not handle those. I knew that I couldn't. I'm like, don't do it, girl. You have no business in those. I knew better. Oh, wow.
And I think it's interesting. Like, you have boys, I have a girl, and the other day she was like, I don't know. And she's homeschooled. So maybe she's just the weird homeschool kid. I don't know. But the other day she was like, my friends like this and my friends like this. And, I like this thing and to wear this kind of stuff. And I don't really care what anybody else thinks. And she was very genuine about it. Like, I like wearing my Harry Potter t-shirts and my yoga pants and I don't care.
Yeah. Good for
I don't
her.
care. And I was like, yes. Mom win. Like, I hope she carries that. She really is. She's like the coolest kid. I don't know. I got really lucky with that one.
I'm really seeing a trend of like all of us being like, my kids are so much cooler than me. Like I've had this conversation with several moms. They're like, why is my kid so cool? And I'm like, right? Like, where did they get this? I was never this cool.
Because we were told we couldn't wear freaking stripes by Clint and Stacy. And we were like, we're going to let our kids wear whatever they want.
This is very true. This is very true.
They ran with it.
Yep.
I'm so proud of this generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of them.
For sure. And I highly doubt they will ever question, like, what am I supposed to be wearing? What's cool as a mom? What should I be wearing? They're not going to care at all. They're like, I'm going to wear whatever it is I want to wear. I don't care. And I'm like, really? Okay, that's awesome. Good for you. I wish I had that.
Yeah, I wish we did. We didn't. But I think in the same way that the pandemic was kind of like the fashion industry was just like, we don't know what's happening. Like if you look at some of the fashion trends from that period, like the 2020, 2021, it's really weird stuff. Like it just doesn't make any sense. But I think what it did was it kind of shook us all out of this this trend that we have to wear a certain thing because we were all at home. There was nobody there to judge us. So we just wore what we wanted to wear.
Yeah.
And I think something happens when you wear something that you're confident in, even if it's not on trend. People pick up on that.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Last summer, I found these overalls, and I'm not an overalls person, but I found these overalls and they had tiny gnomes on them. And I was like, I texted my best friend and I was like, hey, look at these overalls. Can I wear these? She was like, you wear whatever you want. I was like, yeah, but there's tiny gnomes on them. And she was like, that doesn't matter. They're cool. So I bought them. I wore them. I got more compliments on that outfit than I think anything I've ever worn. And I think it was because I just went into it with like, yeah, these are overalls with gnomes on them and I'm into it. Like, and I'm wearing it and I feel good in it and it makes me happy and people see that. So I think it's more about with fashion what you feel good in than necessarily what the industry tells you should feel good in.
For sure. Yeah, 100% agree. And I think it's really cool too that you can challenge what it is you think is your style. Like I know for me personally, when I started like going back out and going on dates and I had friends who were a little bit younger than me. And so it was like, what are y'all wearing? Like, I don't really know. And so I challenged myself to step out of my comfort zone a little bit like, oh, Ashley would never wear this, but like, new Ashley is going to give it a try. And even though I didn't feel 100% confident in it at first, I did learn to be confident. Like I realized, the parts of my body that I wasn't 100% sure of or didn't like all the time. And I was like, yeah, but like, you can notice it in this dress that I'm wearing, but like, I'm going to rock it anyway. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to just adjust to this new style that I'm trying out. And it was a game changer for me. So I think even just kind of challenging your own status quo and being like, okay, I'm not confident just yet, but I'm gonna be, game changer.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's interesting because I had a similar experience after our house fire. Like I lost all of my clothes.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I don't even know what my style is anymore. Like, who do I want to be? What do I want to wear? Like the first couple weeks, I was like, sweatpants is where it's at because that's what I have the capacity to deal with. Yeah. But as we moved forward and like people gave us clothes and I, looked through the clothing that people gave us and I was like, maybe I am a dress girl. Maybe I will wear this. Maybe I started wearing skinny jeans for the first time ever. And I was like, these are comfortable and I like this. And, I think when you have a really huge life shift, and it gives you this opportunity to go, well, who do I really want to be from a fashion standpoint? What do I really want to portray about myself with the things that I wear? And I think you had a really good point with, looking at your body and figuring out like, oh, I don't love this part of me or what have you. But I think we are constantly running from aging. And I think if we would embrace it a little bit better, and our bodies are constantly changing. Like, even if you say roughly the same weight, you carry that weight differently as you age. Sure. Different parts of you, hurt or ache or, you need different shoes or whatever. But like, our bodies are constantly changing always, especially as moms, especially after we've had kids. But let's like embrace it and not try to feel shame about it. Like, and it's so much easier to say than do. And then in the same light, I have a girl who the moment I found out I was having a girl, I was like, I do not want to pass along my negative body image about myself to her. And I made a pact to myself. If I wouldn't be willing to say it to her about her body, I shouldn't say it about myself about my body.
Absolutely.
And and I mean, that rolls right into fashion, what we wear and what we allow ourselves to wear and how we talk about ourselves. And our kids are listening, like even the boys, because your boys are listening to how you talk about your body. And that's how they're going to see other women as they get older. And I think it's so important to not pass down that terrible body image that I think that we were fed in the 90s and in the 2000s about, like,
yeah.
if you're not a stick figure, then you don't deserve love. Like, I feel like that
Right.
was a lot of, I mean, to that level.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know?
For sure. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad you brought up, like, even with, and even with boys, like, I have made it a point in my household, like, we are not allowed to comment on each other's bodies unless someone asks you, like, what do you think about what I'm wearing or whatever. Keep your mouth shut. Like, it's my body is none of your business. And, you know, I notice even my boys talking to each other and they'll say certain things. And I'm like, nope, shut it down. We're not doing this. Let your brother be happy in whatever it is he's doing. It doesn't affect you. Mind your business. You know, I will answer questions. They'll ask me sometimes, like, well, how come girls do this? Or why? What is a bra for? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, like, let me explain it to you. And they're like, well, do you have like a bigger bra than other people? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. Let's talk. But like, other than that, like, don't talk about my body. We don't need to comment on each other's bodies. We're not going to internalize any of that nonsense. And sometimes they'll see me like rummaging through my closet, like, ugh, I don't want to wear that, or ugh, I don't like that. And they're like, well, why not? And I'm like, no, it's just because today I don't want to wear that. Or, you know, today that doesn't fit my style. Cool. It has nothing to do with should I, or do I like what I look like, or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It's just mood, whatever. It's fine. So I like to encourage them to see me the way I see me, etc. So yeah.
That's so great. I love it. I love when boy moms are even teaching that to their boys, because it's going to give them such a different perspective of women as they grow. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. And I mean, it's just, especially as they all enter puberty, like my daughter's 11, and that's the stage we're entering, and your body's changing, and you feel like developmentally, from a cognitive perspective, you're more aware of your body, you're more aware that other people are seeing you. Like, you know, she's a swimmer, and she was like, Mom, I used to be able to dive and my dive's been off. And I'm like, well, why? She's like, I don't know, Mom, I keep trying. And I'm, you know, my coach is saying to put my hips in this direction. And she goes, I'm really scared that I'm going to fall in and I'll be embarrassed. And so we had this whole, and I like, it was like light bulb moment. And I was like, so you used to be able to do it, but now you can't. And she's like, yeah, Mom, I can't. And I was like, well, okay, first off, your body's changing, right? Like, we've talked about puberty, your hips are getting wider and things are moving differently than they used to before. And that's one thing. But were you embarrassed before if you messed up? And she was like, no. And I was like, well, why are you embarrassed now? And she was like, I don't really know. And I was like, well, because cognitively your brain is more aware of other people and more understanding that they might have an opinion about you. But what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
And she was like, well, I fall in and I look silly. And I was like, okay, like, that's not a bad thing. Like, you look silly, no big deal. And I told her, I said, next time at practice, I want you to just fall in, like the position of the dive, like, the thing she was worried about. I just want you to go and I want you to fall flat in. And just so you've done it and you know what it feels like. And she's like, okay. And so it's like they start to really understand, like, it was mind-boggling to me that it affected her dive, like something she's been doing since she was 4 and learning how to do since she was 4. And now suddenly her concern about what others thought affected something she's been able to do forever. And I'm like, how many times does that happen in our lives, right? Like, even as adults.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important that you are teaching her, like, yes, okay, this could be embarrassing. Is it going to be like the end of the world? No, it's going to be okay. Here, let's do it and see what happens. Cool. Like, I love that. Yeah. And that really ties into so many things in her life. It's just teaching her that lesson right off the bat. Like, it's going to be fine. It's cool. You can mess up. You can look silly, whatever. Do you? It's fine. I love that. I love it.
Nobody cares. And if they do, that's about them and not about you.
100%. Like, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that is perfect. That's a perfect wrap up to our fashion discussion. I feel like we are all just kind of rocking it our own ways. And I love that. I love that there are so many ways for moms to express themselves with their clothes and find clothes that really fit their needs. I think, yes, comfort is key. Listen, I will put on a pair of heels every now and then just to like feel myself. But other than that, like it is comfy all day. All day. Like, yeah, I'm not doing all that.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping up with any trends whatsoever. And that's fine.
Mhm.
I love this
Same.
journey.
It's like if the trend is it doesn't make me happy, that's the trend. And that's the trend I'm going to continue to keep up with.
That is a trend I can back all day.
I'm here for it.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. It was a joy as always to chat with you, and we will talk again soon. Perfect. As you can see, Chris and I are both kind of just exploring what fits, what's comfortable, what makes us feel happy in our bodies. When it comes to clothes, there really is not a one size fits all. You've got to find what works for you. So if you're confused about what you wear these days, I know, a couple years ago I posted like, what is this outfit appropriate? I shared it on Instagram and I was concerned, like, is this okay for moms to wear? And then I realized there are no rules. Do what works for you, what makes you happy, and rock it. Whatever it is, just rock it. So let's talk about my Houston Moms House Blend this week. So April is Autism Awareness Month. I don't know if y'all knew that. I didn't, and that's something new for me. Elizabeth Baker created a post about Autism Awareness Month events in the Houston area, some local resources for Houston and Texas as a whole, and then other autism resources for families. I love that it includes some events that will be autism friendly. I think that is a very useful tool for a lot of Houston moms. And Elizabeth Baker always puts so much care into her posts. I think it's absolutely incredible to allow families who do experience autism to have a resource specifically for them. So check out this post. Again, it's called Autism Awareness Month, Houston Events and Resources. So Chris and I did share a few places that we like to get our clothes from. Some of them we like to thrift, or sometimes we'll head to Amazon. But I did find a guide at pennypincherfashion.com that is super helpful for helping you figure out what it is that you're looking for in your clothes. I know it is very easy to just throw on a t-shirt and some yoga pants. Absolutely. And do that if that's what you want to do, 100%. But if you're wanting to explore a little bit, kind of build up your wardrobe, look at some of the must-haves on this list. Things like, is it durable? Is it comfortable? Is it versatile? Things like that are a great place to start when you consider building up your wardrobe. And I really loved this guide because it really just breaks it down and helps you find some decent clothes that you're looking for, some options where to shop. It is surprising how many options there are available to you, and you just might not realize it all the time. So I really loved this ultimate guide, and it was very mom friendly. It was very real. Like, look, we're not trying to spend a ton of money on Lululemon. We're not trying to, dress up every day. This is perfect for just like, hey, what do I wear on the day to day, and what's going to fit me? What's going to fit my pocket? So I'm going to share this post from pennypincherfashion.com as my see you later caffeinator. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Cold Coffee Club, and I can't wait to see you next week.
You've been listening to the Cold Coffee Club, brought to you by Houston Moms. We wish you a fabulous week with your families and look forward to sharing many more cups of cold coffee with you.